Hey everyone, welcome to today's lesson. Now, this is a beginner lesson and it's called the triangle groove. Now, this is a name that I gave to this pattern, and this is something that I do with my beginner students. It's a super easy pattern. We're going to be looking at it in 3 different stages so that you understand how to put it together. And one of the cool things about this pattern is that it's one of those instant gratification patterns. It sounds and looks much harder than it actually is to play. And most people, when they sit down at the drums, can get this pattern under their hands really quickly, and it just sounds awesome. So the reason it's called the triangle groove is because of the shape that the right hand makes when we're playing this. So I'm going to just demonstrate what the right hand's doing to begin with. As I say, this is going to be the first step to playing this particular pattern. So let's give it a shot. Okay, so back to the triangle groove. The right hand is going to be playing floor tom, followed by the second tom, followed by the snare drum. So you can see straight away that you're going to be making this triangle shape. And we're going to be doing it backwards, back up to the second tom, back down to the floor tom. Now, one of the things you'll notice about this pattern is that we won't be playing from the floor tom back to the snare drum. So we won't be going left to right or right to left. We'll always go up first before we move to the other side of the triangle. So I'm going to play this pattern through a couple of times. We'll do it slow to start with, but gradually build it up. And if you're at your drums, feel free to play along with me. So you can see why it's called the triangle groove straight away. Now, the right hand is actually playing 8th notes. Now, that's the way that you would count it if you wanted to count it as you were playing it. And 8th notes we count like this: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So you'll notice that the pattern, actually the shape that you're making of the triangle, happens twice in a bar or measure. Okay, so that's what the right hand does. So that's the first step. I would say get that down, work on it, get gradually faster. I'm going to play it a couple of tempos now. We'll speed it up a little bit. So feel free to join in with me if you're able to. If not, you can jump on it later and give it a go. Okay, and a little faster. All right, so you can hear it's really melodic, the way that those toms sound. Now, talking about melody, this is quite interesting because we don't play a particularly melodic instrument. You know, drums is what's called an unpitched instrument, which means we're not playing with specific notes or specific pitches. But that's not to say that the drums aren't tuned to be pleasing, and some drummers in fact do tune to specific notes, but really we don't get to do much melody on the drums. And this is one of those grooves where we get to play something that sounds really, really pleasing because of the way it sounds melodically. So that's the first step to getting this down right. Your next step is to insert the left hand. Now, the way we're going to do that is we're going to play, first of all, the thing to know is these are called 16th notes, right? And we're going to play these 16th notes hand to hand. So you're basically playing a right hand followed by a left, followed by a right. You keep going, that's hand to hand. So the way we count these 16th notes is 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and. So that's the way to count 16th notes. Now, in terms of the count, you might want to do that. You might find it helpful when you're learning this pattern. Or you might decide, well, actually, I want to focus more on the shape of what I'm playing or the sound of what I'm playing. And that's absolutely fine too. We can look at it from all different angles. Everybody learns slightly differently, and there's different ways to pick things up. So you'll find out what works for you as we go along. All right, so moving to the next step, I'm going to play this. So just change the camera angles here. All right, so we're going to play the triangle again with the right hand. But after every right hand we do, we're going to put a left hand on the first tom. Now, the thing to remember is that the right hand is doing this triangle shape. The left hand is static. It's staying on the first tom. So I'm going to play it slowly for you. Here we go. All right, let's go a little faster. And let's go a little quicker still. Here we go. All right, so back to the third step. I would suggest if you want to play this a few times, we need to get the pattern under your hands. And what I mean by that is you need to get the feel for it. So it's great being able to count it. That's important as well. You know, that's a step that, particularly for some drummers, they really need to understand the positioning of everything. And the count can really help with the positioning and getting the time in and give you a real understanding. But for me personally, I like to get to the point where quickly I start to feel the pattern. Even more than relying on the sound, I'm relying on the feel. Because if I just focus on the sound, it means if I want to modify this pattern, it's more of a challenge because there's a new sound. So I approach it as something that was brand new instead of something that's very similar to what I've done. But if I can get the feel of it, then what I can do is I can start to move limbs around the drums to different positions, and I can maintain that feel in a way. So it's a really useful tool. I'll get into that in some later lessons as well. All right, so you've got the first two steps down. So we've got the right hand, just to recap, doing the triangle. We've got the left hand bringing in that first tom in the middle, which turns it from an 8th note pattern into a 16th note pattern. And the final step's probably the easiest one actually. We're going to add a kick drum, and we're going to put the kick on the 1 and 3 in terms of your count. So when you're thinking about your count, it's going to go 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and. So those kicks are going to drop on the 1 and 3. Like I said before though, you might prefer to focus on your positioning or your feel. And there's a little hack you can do here that normally works pretty well. And that's, rather than worry about the 1 and 3, the placement of the kick with the count, all you do is you add the kick every time you hit the floor tom. So in this particular pattern, every single time that right hand hits the floor tom, pop a kick with it at the same time. And that's the third and final step that brings this groove together and gives it a bit more depth as well, because we're adding that kick. So it's going to go like this. Okay, a little faster. Cool, there you go. That is the triangle groove. So the name of this, it's not a widely known thing. It's not if you talk to other drummers and you said the triangle groove, they wouldn't necessarily know what you were referring to. This is just a name that I came up with for this pattern, just so that it's an easy reference, and it's something that sticks in your mind. You know, it's an easy reminder of what this thing actually is, because we can just revert back to the shape, and then it jogs our memory and we go, okay, oh yeah, we're talking about that pattern. All right, so thank you for watching. I hope you found value in this. If you've got any comments or feedback, feel free to leave them. The other thing is, this is a brand new channel. So if you enjoyed this, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, and I'll keep you notified when there's more videos out. So yeah, thanks. Until next time, see you.